Welcome everyone to the Island Life podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 48 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 13 seasons under her belt, Ash.
Hello.
And of course, we also have our Survivor newbie, the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his 5th season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving break.
Yes. See, I thought about going some kind of version of what are we thankful for, but unfortunately, that topic has been used like millions of times for years now, so we can't do that. So instead, let's break some ice with something else. I want to know, have you ever gotten revenge? In any context, has revenge ever come up for you at any point?
A good time for so I don't have a specific moment, but I have a specific time period I use revenge heavy on it. Have you guys ever heard of a game called Mario Party by any chance?
That does ring a
As
bell.
a matter of
Yes.
fact, yeah, I think so.
Backstory, we're all big fans of Mario here, but Mario Party was a big game in my childhood, and like in terms of when I got my first DS, playing with friends and sleepovers up until like college, and then later on in my life currently, I still love that game. Whenever someone I don't steal nobody's stars. I try my best. I'm not a star stealer, guys. And I'm usually like, I just want to play alone. I'm just trying to win, get my coins, and win stars. But when one person steals my stars, all revenge on there. I don't care if I'm losing. I don't care what is going on. I'm going to go to Boo. I'm going to spend 50 coins and I'm going to steal from you.
Becomes personal, yeah.
Yes, it does. And I don't care. Winning is secondary. Revenge is number one. Unlike in Survivor, I'm sure winning is primary. Revenge is number two or both. But for me, it was to get that star from that person. That's where
Well,
revenge comes in for me.
You heard it here first, folks. It's on record. And just never stolen anyone's stars.
Not unprovoked. Don't steal my stars. That's my thing. Next
That
time
is
we'll
the
have to do a
message.
Survivor Pod Mario Party game. And then we'll have to see what's going to happen.
That's got to be the follow-up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if my life's interesting enough to be like, yeah, like I got revenge on this guy. But I think in a similar vein, back in high school, this actually attributed to me just becoming a better like basketball shooter. I used to play during our lunch hour. We used to play like games of horse or just like, pick up during lunchtime, the 1 hour break we would get. I would spend part of it eating lunch, but then part of it playing basketball. And this one kid I went to elementary school with who was just really talented in basketball, he would be the starter for our teams. He would dominate in whatever game you're playing as it relates to basketball. So like, to start out, I would play like horse against him and he would just beat me so easily. Like I don't even think I would put up a point against him or essentially score anything on him, even get him to an H. Horses, for the folks who don't know, it's just a game where you take a shot and the other person has to recreate your shot wherever it is. It could be a trick shot, it could be any type of shot. But if they miss the shot that you try to make, you then get an H, right? Then it follows up with an O. Then it follows up with an R, S, and E. Once you get the full spelling of horse, you get eliminated, right? So first person to get horse gets the other person actually wins the game. So I actually would lose so many times to this person in horse, just because, they're a lot more craftier than I was. They could make further out shots. They could lay the ball up. They were just much better at basketball than I was. But this ended up developing my shooting skills just by me playing so frequently. And eventually, after a certain period of time, after my first year, I started actually not only in some pickup games, taking some games away from this person, I would from time to time also start beating them in horse. So in a sense, it started that revenge arc of just, me being super competitive about it, that like, okay, I really got to beat this person, and it's becoming more and more personal the more I lose.
I like it because it's like it's revenge, but it's also you've been working on yourself with that. You
Yeah.
were trying to get better and you were getting
Personal
better.
growth.
So
Of course.
I like that. Using revenge for personal growth is excellent. I love it.
Now, I wouldn't recommend anyone do that, but like just in just in the
I'm just like,
just in the
don't.
realm of sports. Yeah, just in the realm of sports, I would like to specify that yes, that's where
you're
revenge
saying
came in for me.
You don't want to take revenge on the person that cut you off on the road by then like running them off the road.
Oh, oh,
I think in terms of road etiquette, being passive always pays off. Let the other
I agree.
person play stupid.
You hear it here.
Okay.
Road
Okay.
rage is not good, kids. Or not kids. You won't be driving. People.
Yes.
Adults.
Yeah, you 10-year-olds take this to heart. Yeah. Well, because we heard revenge a little bit in this episode. Actually, I didn't even buy it. Savannah said something about like tonight's vote, I'm getting revenge. But no, I mean she made like the move that worked out best. I don't even think and Sophie didn't really ever betray her. I mean, she was never on the same side of Sophie. So I think if anything, maybe like it humanizes Savannah a little bit if people think she's making an emotional decision because maybe it can be viewed as a negative to be just a game bot of only strategies. No, maybe not. That could be interesting. But we are going to actually talk about the last 2 episodes. We're gonna. I think we'll spend like 10 minutes on the episode from Thanksgiving, and then we'll talk about episode 11 here. But don't worry, I have collected the series of events from episode 10. So we'll go through it quick. So at the end of episode 9 is when Alex or no Joanne gets taken. Or no Alex. I was right the first time. And Steven and Kristina are obviously they're sad because the writing's starting to get in the wall. They're going to be in trouble. And then Soph and Sophie are starting to talk about wanting Steven out. And a big thing that happens is that Sage tells Joanne about Kristina's idol and that she knows that because Steven told her. So this starts a long chain of events of don't tell people anything in this game. But so far, the chain is Steven told Sage and Sage has told Joanne. So Joanne is now suspicious that he can't trust Steven. But for now, he still has his eyes more on ideally Savannah. And then we actually go to the reward challenge, which was called Swingdings. This was to get to go to the sanctuary, get some hot dogs. The swinging part was because you have to go through kind of a water obstacle course, but at the end of that, you're literally like if you ever played tetherball, where you have like a big like volleyball sized ball and it's tied to a pole, and in that game you just like swing it around like horizontally around the pole. In this case, you need to kind of like swing it up like you're swinging on a swing, and it will eventually your goal is to land in the basket. They split up, so it's Sophie, Sage, and Steven against Joanne, Rizo, Savannah, and Kristina. Unfortunately, Rizo really struggles on the balance beam. Kristina also struggles. And the big moment here was Kristina is really feeling alone. And she talks about missing her mom who had passed. So this was before the challenge. That was an emotional moment. I think Jeff did okay. Because obviously, like, Jeff's trying to host a show, but this person is really struggling. But I thought he did okay.
I think it's always like an awkward moment when someone is like struggling in the show, because I feel like Jeff is like, but you're on Survivor. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. You're on Survivor. And I think it's always like I don't know how I think I have a love-hate relationship on that, because yes, they all love Survivor, and with Kristina's mom, it's like a relationship they had was Survivor, but it's also like sometimes when you're struggling, you're like, okay, I don't want to hear this right now. Like wonder like has anybody felt this way but don't want to say it because they're on Survivor, Like they would probably get a bad rep or something, a bad edit per se by saying that. But I think Jeff did do a good job on kind of navigating this, and it was a very emotional moment and very heartfelt, I feel like, because you really felt Kristina just like pour her heart out, and she wants to see someone that is no longer with her. Like it's not like she could go home and see her, it's like she's not here anymore. So it was a very nice moment.
Yeah.
Sad.
The only thing I didn't like, well, not that I didn't like, it's just the only criticism is because at first he's like, what would she want you to feel right now? So I thought that was good. That makes sense. But after that, he's like, and that's what something along the lines of like, and that's what being on Survivor like does, and it gives you this opportunity to overcome and to have this moment, and you won't remember what you did on day 12, but you'll remember this moment when you're able to share with all of us. Um, which like could be true statements, but it's kind of making it not about the person in distress. So it was a little iffy, but it's good for TV. So that was my only criticism. She does have a moment where she almost falls off the balance beam, and Savannah, maybe genuine, maybe not, but benefit of the doubt, let's say it's genuine. She's like, "Do it for your mom," and it's like, "Oh, what a gamble! What if she like falls off anyway? That'd be devastating."
That moment, she's holding on to dear life, okay? I would assume if it wasn't for Kristina being the one struggling, I think she would have had to restart. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I
Oh,
was
because
like,
like
"Oh
the
my gosh."
like knees are touching water and everything.
Yes, yes, and she was still on there, which is fine. I mean, hey, I'm no Survivor game police here. Jeff is. So, but I'm like, this is crazy. I feel like it's because of all this happening. They were like, yeah, let's not have her. Like, Kristina, go back. Like, how would that be? That would be so bad. I mean, like do it for your mother. Oh, Kristina, you gotta go back. Gotta restart.
But yeah, so Sophie, Stage, Steven are our winners. Um, some momentum is building towards it, continuing to build for it to be either Savannah or Steven, and then there's like a maybe Kristina, but people are the people who know about the idol are a little wary of that. But for now, that's what it's looking like. Back at camp, uh, we get the debut of an amazing boy band called Three Boys and a Bench.
Oh,
The-
yes.
Love that
yep,
name.
yep. The my here's my rendition of it. It was like three boys on a bench, three boys on a bench. That's just very funny. The 90-minute episodes give us an opportunity to see things like this. I mean, it would have been more impactful if the three of them were actually aligned, but it does show like just because we're not working together doesn't mean we can like literally need to strongly dislike, as someone might say, each other.
Well, it's due for a quick name change, wouldn't you say?
Uh, well, I don't know. What do you mean by that?
The resolution of the episode. Three boys in a
Uh,
band.
oh yeah. Well,
It's
see now
just
that
two boys in a band.
two boys on a bench. What's Rizzo actually like when he's having his conversations? He's like, yeah, I like them, but talking with Steven, I like him, but if he has to go, that's fine. Um, so Sophie at this point is weighing her options because she could align herself with Joanne, Sage, and Steven, essentially the bottoms up alliance. Or she could align herself with Soph, Rizzo, and Savannah, who I guess don't have a name. They could be, if Sage is ever eliminated, they could be the Uli 3. But for now, they're just 3 people. But she hasn't made up her mind yet. Then we have the immunity challenge, But before we even get to that, it's time for the rice negotiation, which sometimes gets forgotten about, but it is a thing that happens like in the new era right now. That is a thing. And Jeff says, if 3 out of the 8 of you sit out, I'll give you like enough rice to get through the rest of the game. And I thought was funny is that so Kristina immediately is like, nope, not doing it, which makes sense for her because she feels in danger. So then Jeff turns to Rizo and asks, like, Rizo, can you explain to me like what goes into considering to sit out or not? And Rizzo's like, well, I hate to burst your bubble, but actually, I don't even think it's a consideration. Just like, ooh, okay, Rizzo. I mean, that's what we want to hear anyway. I don't want people to sit out.
I think that's what Jeff wants to hear, He wants people to want it,
I mean, I thought he liked the negotiation part.
Maybe that is his way of negotiating, maybe trying to undersell what Jeff's actually trying to do.
I mean, possibly. But what's crazy is that, so like I said, Kristina immediately says no. Rizzo is like, well, I don't even think it's that much of a consideration. We're all here to win $1 million. And then the next person to talk is Joanne, who's like, so Jeff. So Joanne immediately tries to negotiate. Like, what if it was 2 people for half the rice?
That's not good. That was such a bad deal, too. I was like, no, Joanne, no. I didn't dig it. And everyone's like, Jeff, no, stop it.
Well, Jeff is like, no. And then I think it was Savannah like, oh, come on, Jeff. I thought this was negotiation. And Jeff's like, it is a negotiation. It doesn't mean I have to agree to your terms.
It was true.
For once, I think a lot of people are sick of this. It's just because, like almost everything in the new era, it happens every season. So it's anything you liked about it has already happened. I did find myself kind of laughing at this one more than usual. The only weird thing is that Jeff kind of cuts them off because I think Savannah is like, oh, let's hear like your counter offer from Jeff, and then Jeff is like, well, you've kind of all already said how important it is to play. Like, don't go back on that. Like, so she's like, stand on business. If you don't negotiate, then so be it. But I found myself thinking, like, but maybe they did want to. Maybe they just were trying to work you down, Jeff. You kind of like forced them to refuse the race.
It was very eruptive. And I feel like they, I used to really like when he would slash the rice, because they're making decision and they're like, make the decision or else the rice is pouring out and stuff. That was exciting when it was like happening like first time. But this time it just felt like, what's another 5 days without rice? Oh well.
Well, yeah,
Jeff would legit be wasting rice.
I think he did that one time, and it wasn't the first time. Like, it was to the point where they knew. I forget what season it was. Someone will tell us. It wasn't the first time. So like they know what this is already. And they were trying to negotiate, and they kept kind of going back and forth. And Jeff's like, let's see if this like helps make up your mind. And he just pulls out a knife and stabs the bottom of the bag. And he doesn't say anything, but it's clear like the longer they take to make up their mind, the more rice is not going to be in this bag anymore. So he basically, is that extortion, ultimatum? I don't know what interest in that, but that worked though. They like immediately got people to step out that time. So no deal, no rice for anybody, and this community challenge was called Teetering on the Edge. I gotta remind myself what this challenge was all about. I believe I don't have it off the top of my head because instead I have this latest episode on the top of my head instead.
Just wasn't as memorable.
No, it was actually it was because it's I should have just guessed obstacle course because plus block puzzle because ultimately that's what it is. But the obstacle course is you need to run it, but you need to run it while you're holding puzzle pieces, like these really big It's still a block puzzle, but the blocks are literally in the shape of a jigsaw puzzle. So like you have a pole, and the pole has kind of like a circle on top of it, like a dish, and then you can stack as many of these really big puzzle pieces as you want, and then you have to walk or run over the balance beam, and you're trying to get all your pieces to the place where you're building. So you can be risky and take a bunch of pieces, or you can go slow and like take only one at a time. It's up to you. But at the end of the day, you need to get them all to the other side, and then construct your puzzle. Steven is actually extremely bold. He takes the most pieces of anybody at once and doesn't drop. However, he is unable to finish the puzzle fast enough, despite being the first one there, and it is Sophie that wins immunity again. So Sophie is safe, which is great for her because she's the one. It's always great, like if you're the one deciding between, like you are in the middle, being safe is great. I mean, that's ultimate power at that point. And that's what that. And this is when Sage actually tells. So she already told Joanne about it. Now she goes to tell Sophie. She clarifies a little, or not clarifies. She kind of says I think she has an idol regarding Kristina's idol. So not as clear as she was with Joanne, but still. And Sage in confessional tells us she did that because she wants three things to happen. She wants Savannah to be voted out. She also wants Kristina to use her idol and therefore waste her idol. And she wants Rizo to get spooked that Kristina played her idol so that he plays his idol on himself, and then those are all wasted. So given that is all the stuff that Sage wants to happen, are you okay with Sage revealing this information to Sophie?
I think it made sense.
I'm reluctant. I feel like there's certain things that you should be mum about. Now, this is one of the episodes that just kind of skimmed through for me, so I don't have the full details, but I know in like the past episodes, it's been a little disheartening to see someone go up and like tell someone something, and that person immediately then just shares it with the rest of the tribe. It just kind of makes things a little bit more predictable in a way, because it then makes a target on that person's back. And strategically that might work for them, but then you just lose the meaning behind the secrecy of what you're like, just having actual trust in someone to be able to keep their secret, so that when it does happen this season, like it just feels more rare and more earned, I guess, if that makes sense. So for me, if it's not something that's immediately harming her game, it's not something I would be very, I wouldn't be like jumping to just tell everyone.
Interesting, because another nuance is this isn't Sage's secret. Like it's not like she's basically betraying someone to do this. Like she's divulging someone else's secret, which is different than sharing your own secret.
Okay. Yeah. So the context is important there.
Right? Because Sage is saying Kristina has an idol. She's not saying I have an idol. And it's not like Kristina wanted anyone else to know about this. But she is sharing with someone who's not specifically part of her alliance. It is someone that she expects to vote with her, but Sophie's not actually part of the Bottoms Up Alliance.
Yeah.
Plus,
we'll see how that
Steven, who is in the Bottoms Up Alliance, specifically told her not to tell anybody else. This mostly confused because let me read her list of things again. She wants Savannah to get voted out. She wants Kristina to use her idol, and she wants Rizo to get scared because of that and then use his idol. That does all sound great, but she's losing me at how divulging this information helps any of those things.
It's just like a lack of focus on like a winning strategy for that tribal. It's like, I need all these things to happen. And like, if it doesn't happen that way, like what is the true game plan for you? Right. I find myself questioning that a lot when it comes to Sage and even Joanne, right? Like what is their actual game plan once they advance further and further into the game?
So you think she's like,
she's
spread out too much. One of those things.
Yes. Yeah. She's spread out too much, I think, which could be hurtful.
That's true. I think she wanted too much. Like this would be a very great, like that's perfect scenario for her gameplay, but you can't expect that because that's a lot of factors for it to occur.
Yeah, right. Like we talk about it like in pretty much every episode, like, oh, it would work well for this person's game if this and this happened. So, right. So like in an ideal scenario, take Soph, for instance, she has the knowledge is power advantage. She could essentially leverage that, take away a known idol that Rizo has without it for some reason hurting her, and then maintaining the bond that she has with Savannah and Rizo, and all at the same time eliminating the bigger threat in Savannah. Like, does that sound realistic? No, but can that happen? Yes, and that's an ideal scenario for her. But like, is she playing the game to ensure that's happening all in one episode? No, it's just not realistic sometimes. You got to think of like the long game, and the long game generally involves you picking your pieces and focusing on one thing at a time.
Yeah, it just confused me because I was trying to think her best case scenario could happen without her talking about this idol. Like she could, because as far as she knows, she has bottoms up alliance, has 3 people, and then Kristina is extremely likely on their side because she's talked about nothing other than getting Savannah. So she has 4. So with 8 people left, you want one more person because otherwise you're gonna get a tie, and that one other person right now is Sophie. So like really what you should be doing is convincing her to vote with you. And I don't know what telling her about Kushina's idol does to do it either way. Now, actually, not only does it not help, it backfires because Sophie already was deciding between these 2 groups and has decided that she actually wants Savannah to stay in the game because she cites that she's a challenge shield, meaning that in terms of threats, people think that she's a threat. She's Sophie, but they also think that Savannah's a threat for challenges too. So better to have multiple of those than just me. So there's that. And then if Kristina does have an idol, then like she and Steven could be dangerous. Whereas everyone knows Rizzo has an idol. So that kind of feels less dangerous, honestly. So in the end, she talks to Savannah and Soph and Rizzo and tells them, I know for sure that Sage and Joanne are not with you and they're voting against you. Like they've completely flipped. They're targeting you this time, but I want to vote with you. And I thought one interesting point is that Savannah and Rizzo did seem surprised. So I think that they thought, maybe not that they were fully committed, but that at least Joanne and Sage were with them for this vote. So technically credit to Joanne and Sage because, I mean, they had them fooled. But so now they go to work of what to do about this. Savannah actually does herself go to talk to Kristina and Joanne. Pretty aggressive, but she's basically trying to confirm, because what if Sophie's just lying to me? Like I need to kind of figure it for myself. So she kind of just asks, who you're voting for, like straight up, which Kristina does not like. She's just like,
Yeah, it was an awkward moment.
yeah, really thrown off.
Yeah, she was like, you asked. It basically was like, you're asking me this directly, and Savannah's like, yeah, I want to ask, and I want to like, I'm just curious, I want to ask you. But then Christina just like, didn't answer her. Did she just like walk away or something at that moment?
She's like, give me a second because I didn't like that. Hang on.
Yeah,
I think they probably had a conversation after that, but
it was so awkward.
Just really bad, awful poker face by Kristina. Actually, even if Kristina didn't need to lie, like it's just good to be able to have fake conversations with people. So that did not work out at all with Kristina. With Joanne, she does something similar, but Savannah just talks to him on the beach and is like, "Yeah, we good, right? Yeah, of course. Because you don't think it could be me, right? No, of course not. Yeah, because you wouldn't betray me or anything, right?" He's like, "No, of course not." Like she's trying to see his reaction because this is confirming that he's lying to her. Basically, she just wants to see if he cracks at all, which he doesn't crack, but it does convince Savannah that she wants Joanne out because of that. Um,
Did
And then the
not have a
last
good
couple,
enough poker face.
yeah, I guess it wasn't. I mean, it's hard because like he's been tattletaled on already. So like there was no chance. Like if that poker face probably would have worked if Savannah didn't know the answer already, but she does know from Soph. Soph thinks about knowledge is power, but she's worried that they don't know for sure that Kristina has an idol, and it would look really awkward if she tries and fails to use it. And then it's revealed that she kept that secret from her allies, and so she ends up not having to think about it because Savannah says, "Oh, and I have an extra vote, so actually there's 4 of us if we include Sophie. If I use my extra vote, there's 5. 5 versus 4 will be enough, and we'll get the job done." Um, and with an added touch, they do say like we want. Actually, at first they say Sage, but they say let's let Sophie decide between Sage and Joanne, and they go to her, and Sophie actually prefers Joanne, and that's who they end up targeting. Which it's a nice touch because potentially, if you want someone to really be your ally, you want them to feel like they have agency, um, especially when it doesn't matter to you who's going home. So yeah, so they all go to tribal council, and you think that it's just gonna be easy because it'll be 5 versus 4, or what it actually was, which is 5 versus 3 versus 1, because there were some shenanigans of splitting votes. But there's some fireworks. First, Kristina does use her idol. This is part of the plan that she thinks is going to happen and Steven thinks is going to happen, where we're going to defend ourselves against the vote from them, just in case, like, what if I don't know, Sophie doesn't vote with us, which by the way she's not. That way all their votes are blocked, and then we'll vote for Savannah. So she plays it on Steven. Then Rizo gets up and plays his idol, asterisk, because actually it's not an idol. It's a fake he made for, at this point, unknown reasons. And everyone is just totally perplexed. They're in the audience perplexed because obviously we didn't see this. What did you think of Rizzo's performance here?
I don't know what he was thinking. I'm just like, what was the point of that? Why did you do that? I just like, I think later on we know, like, he explains it, but I still don't think that was necessary. I think maybe you just want to put some splash, a little show, a little fun stuff, but I didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like the second fake out by Rizzo this season. Where
Are
earlier
you
he's
done with the
talking
fake
about
outs, F? No
yeah,
more effing around, faking around.
exactly. No, it just goes to show you that he has not felt the need to actually use his idol, and for some reason it has not come back to bite him. But
Yeah, no, he's been right every single time so far.
Yeah. The
It's,
memes on Reddit is like Mitch, like they're like making fun of the previous season Mitch making moves. It's like no one's made moves in this season, like trying to take out Savannah or Rizzo.
yeah, I
Oh
think the
yeah,
will he won't he kind of thing is fun for an episode or two, but if it drags out for like 5-6 episodes, then yeah, it starts to get a little boring.
is he the one that's like, I bet everyone's screaming at me to make moves,
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm not too bad, basically.
Yes.
I don't think this is to that level. Like, he does explain that there's a point to it, and his in the next episode he claims that he had made a fake idol, and he was going to use that fake idol to scare Kristina into using her own idol incorrectly. But he could be telling the truth. But just think about it. If he does that before Kristina has a chance to make up her mind, Jeff's going to say, this is not an immediate idol.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like,
Yeah, it just
how would
doesn't
that
make
work?
sense. What he's
So
saying doesn't make sense.
So you wouldn't be scaring her with like logic. You'd just be scaring her by like just freak her out, which maybe would work. But the only way that's successful if she's like, oh god, what does that mean? I thought because there is something like they do all freak out because they know he has an idol, and to hear that this one's fake did get people confused. So there is a chance in the confusion, and you only got a couple seconds to decide, maybe it would work. But it's a big maybe.
Yeah, that was useless.
So in the end, they all vote. Well, the group plus the extra vote for Joanne, and Joanne goes.
Mhm.
Do you want to see Joanne again?
I'm gonna say yes. I
I just want
actually really like
to.
him.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. For the fact that he's one of the few people who actually calls Jeff Uncle Jeff. It's pretty
Uncle
endearing.
Jeff. It is. I
Kristina
think
actually
that
does that too.
yes, he does. She does. I think that in the beginning, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, Joanne, like, why are you taking other people's bags, getting these shoes? I think I think
He
endearing
grows
is a
on you.
great word. Yeah, he did grow on me in terms of, man, I do wish he
Yeah.
was there a little longer, and I could see why he won, like, people's hearts in terms of he is good at his social game. Even though he is kinda like this awkward, nerdy guy, I like it. He's real. He is I like it. I personally would love to see him back.
I think my one gripe with I agree. I also think he has potential to be an interesting survivor, so I would like to see him come back. My one gripe is he at times is shown to have tunnel vision, where like he's the thing that I was just talking about. You have to have focus on things. He is that to an extreme. He's like, okay, I need to get this person out, and he's like just not paying attention to anything else.
That you're right.
So
You're right on that. I forgot about where there are times where he'll be like, when someone says like, "Oh, this person wants to put your name out," and then and then I guess I don't know, is it the edit or his eyes just looking at them, and then he gets these like, what's
yeah,
going
it's like he
on
just forgets
here?
everything else.
Yeah, and then it just focuses in on, oh my gosh, you're trying to take me out. You're done. We're done with that. And it's like, oh my gosh, hold on a second. Wait a minute.
But all in all, I think he is actually an interesting survivor candidate. He is someone I think would, if he returned for a future season, I think he would make the season pretty entertaining to watch.
For sure. I think it would be
All
fun.
right.
And he's a good guy. I like him.
I love to hear it. I like hearing like you because there's liking somebody and then there's liking them enough to want to see them again, or hating them enough to want to see them again potentially. Um,
The downfall the
someone
first time wasn't
who
good enough. We need to see it again.
yeah. um, Now we get into this past episode 11, which was called Cherry on Top. Um, Now I think the main event of this episode, I'm debating between the journey or like the tribal council decision, which I guess comes down to, I think it actually is the journeys. So what did you think of
Yeah.
the strenuous adventure that Steven had to go on?
Yeah, I think this ultimately was Steven's episode, right? Like a do or die situation where most of the focus was put on him. The journey was just representing, like, for him, it's a lifeline. It's something where he doesn't have a choice. He's kind of got his back against the wall. He understands that people see him as a threat. And just to the start of the journey, he wasn't one of those survivors who was just like running to get into the boat and say, okay, no, I'm taking this challenge no matter what. He was giving the others an opportunity to potentially take the challenge themselves. And it just once we realized that, okay, it's strenuous and that may be a factor in terms of why people are against it. Other people are also more just comfortable in their roles. They don't feel like they're under any major threat the same way that Steven would be. I think ultimately he asked, what was it, like Sage, unless you want to go, like, I guess I'll just go. He came across as more reluctant compared to other people, but like obviously there was a need for him to want to go. And it was good to see him be able to make the most of it. And now the challenge itself was, as Jeff had described, or as it was described in the parchment, pretty strenuous. And I found myself thinking the whole time, like, is this going to be one of those challenges that just seems like so impossibly difficult that he's just kind of shot himself in the foot even taking it? Or is it something where viably he does have an opportunity to turn things around? And I could say I'm pleasantly surprised. I like the challenge. I like the fact that he took the journey and it felt to me that he became more and more confident as he was going through it. What did you guys think?
I agree that this was the episode where I think before that, I was just like, I think in the beginning, you guys heard me say, like, I don't even know why people like put Steve on there. I don't even think he's that much of a threat. To be honest, there's way more people, and why is Steve on there? But I feel like this episode, there was this, it was very where he stepped up. Well, even though it was reluctant, but it was a good thing he did because everybody didn't want him to go because going on a journey means you may get an advantage or you may get a disadvantage. Like it's either or, but you don't want that person to get it because you don't want that chance. But everyone else was just kind of bystander effect where they're like, I don't want to go. But that person might go, like someone else should have volunteered, but don't let Steve do it. And then in the end, Steve did it. And it was very like motivational, right? This guy, he's not digging in the beach and finding location. This guy is running, he's fallen in the rocks, he's trying to like beat nature. He's trying to beat the water, getting up,
Mhm.
like running in like this is truly he was rock climbing, it felt like. Not like Angelina saying that she like climbed on the he really was like truly running, climbing on stuff, looking through things and remembering these numbers. Um and that moment where he's like, I'm a rocket scientist, I could do it. I could do this. I have a degree. I've done things harder. And I'm like, that looks very hard. I'm just saying, that looks really hard. But I get it. I get the motivation and I love that moment. And when he did get it and got the advantage, although I would like to disagree, that this advantage sucked. It was terrible for what he went through. He deserves an immunity idol.
Yeah,
People got
exactly what I was
immunity
saying.
idols way easier than the way he did it. People literally stumbled, looked down, and picked it up and could get one. This
Or
man
even
deserved
a steal
one.
the vote, right?
Yeah,
Like a
yes, like
more
something
powerful advantage.
strong. I don't know. This was just not strong enough for what he has gone through. Um, but
Yeah,
anyways, got it. And he had an emotion moment where he is tearing up. He's like he thought he was in the dumps and bottoms, and now he has some power. And that is what I love about Survivor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that I liked watching him over the course of the journey. Like I was saying, like it just felt like he got more confident as he was going through it. Obviously, it was a hard challenge, and just to describe to everyone what the challenge was, it's a challenge where he had to run around the perimeter of the island, and it's a big island, but he essentially is trying to get the order of this lock code for he has a code which he needs to unlock this like little sheath that he can then use to break a pot which is like submerged like out in the ocean
well,
and
specifically
it's
not
facing
submerged. It's
yes
hanging above
sorry
the water.
it's above the water, but it has the potential to be submerged if he takes long enough, which would thus lose him the challenge and cost him his vote. So it's a time-based challenge. He has to run around and essentially find the numbers for this key lock. And once he gets those, get back to the key lock, unlock it, and essentially break the pot before the high tides render it useless. So um, very, very difficult challenge, right? Just from looking at it, it did not look like he had a pathway set for him. He was climbing like jagged rocks, wet surfaces, submerged in water himself for part of the challenge. So this definitely did not look like an easy challenge. And I agree with Ange that it felt like him ultimately winning. He should have gotten a better reward than what he was given. But then again, maybe it's like, maybe because we're so close to the final four, it just felt like giving him any like overwhelming advantage would have just been a guarantee to get him to the end. But I felt at least like give him some sort of certainty for this episode, if any.
Yeah, I'm pretty far on the other side of that. I would have hated it if it was just like a full powered immunity idol after that. See, my thing is, this is what's holding me back. I love the idea of a time limit challenge, but they did not design this in a way for me to know if he had a little bit of time left or a lot of time left. I'd have to like compare screenshots at this point for in the moment, because what's gonna happen is the longer he takes, the tide rises, the actual like pot is getting higher and higher, and if it gets to the top, it's gonna snap off and fall. So your visual indicator is it getting to the top of the structure. It kind of didn't look like it was that higher than where it began. So I can't tell if this was clearly extremely strenuous. This was uh very physically taxing, but I'm worried that it was easy in the sense that as long as you don't just like collapse and faint, like you'll get there in time. And I don't know. It didn't show it to me, and because of that, I would not have wanted an idol to be given to a task that is extremely achievable, like a difficult but achievable challenge, and one that is not equal opportunity because when you search for an idol randomly, well, anybody could be doing that at any time.
Mhm.
But he's the only one on this journey, so I wouldn't have liked that.
That's a fair point, but like just to play devil's advocate to that, like take Kristina for example, right? Even if it's something that anyone can do, you're just stumbling across an advantage which ends up being a hidden immunity idol, right? Whereas some people end up getting like their own set of advantages which aren't immunity idols, which are like beware advantages. We've seen this season, someone just stumbles into a hidden immunity idol. And it's like you compare that to this challenge being described as strenuous. Yeah, not everyone gets to do it, but like it's to me, it's a high risk, high reward challenge. You also lose your vote if it backfires on you. So there needs to be something worth that reward. If what you're doing
My
is
issue is it didn't seem like there was a risk. Maybe there'll be like a behind the scenes to say it. Like it just didn't. It didn't seem like Steven sprinted. It's like it seemed like he went at
right,
a reasonable pace for
you're
so
questioning if it was like a very difficult challenge in the first place, right?
yeah, not because it's not easy literally because it requires you like exerting all this energy to do it. But like if Steven had taken an hour longer, would it still be there? And maybe I don't know. It's there's been some other versions of a time based challenge. I mean, literally even just like the hourglass that you can deduce
Yeah,
like if it was a close call or not. This I just it didn't resonate with me because of that. Although in principle, idol for journey like individual journey with a chance to get an idol, I don't like that. So even in a vacuum, because
I agree with your point
for
about like
Kristina, I wouldn't say she stumbled on it. I mean, she searched for it and found it.
right. I just mean in the sense that like how much effort is involved in one task, and you find something which is like obviously a massive reward compared to like a strenuous thing. I do agree with your point that like yes, a visual aid would have been helpful. I'm not sure why they didn't have like a time thing. I wonder if maybe they were thinking that it would mess with the person who's doing the challenge, their head. Like that might make them more tense. But you know, I'm just trying to provide an excuse on their behalf,
Mhm.
so that might not even be it. But I do think that like yes, like there's the risk of losing your challenge or excuse me, losing your vote. But then there's also the risk of this is a strenuous challenge, right? If you need to then go do the challenge for the episode later in the day, the immunity challenge, it could tucker you, like it could put you at a disadvantage if you're exhausting yourself even before that. So that's part
I
of the
did like
reason
that.
why I feel like it's part of the reason why I feel like this is a high risk challenge. So like there needs to be a high like there needs to be a proper reward that's worth undertaking the journey. And it just did not feel like what he got was that. I feel like, okay, at least even if it's not a hidden immunity idol, at least like a steal a vote should have been a better option than what he ultimately got, which was like a block a vote. So that's all my point was. I felt like it was a good journey. I liked what it was. I just felt like he should have gotten a better advantage off of it.
So then, moving on slightly, what other kind of advantage, short of an idol, would you? Because clearly, neither of you are satisfied with the the almighty block of vote. So, what other advantages that you've seen before do you think would have been reasonable?
Savannah's one comes to mind. An extra vote is also, I think, would be better. because
I
you have
agree
more
on
control
that.
in terms
Okay.
of what's happening.
Yeah, an extra vote would be really nice. I think, yeah, I would be happy with an extra vote. I think it's because of the way it looked. It felt like it's a lot of work. So to me, and it was like such a strenuous, like it was a lot of work. It was strenuous. It took a lot out of them for so. You're basically you're sacrifice a potential chance of winning immunity by doing this. So I feel
Yeah.
like you deserve, like to me, you deserve an idol for all that. But I think maybe that is controversial. I don't know. I'll have to see. If you know, if you have a thought about it, comment down below. I'm interested to hear like the rest of the community on what they think about.
All you need to know is that F and Ange just want to give everybody idols, but I know that we can't just give free idols to everybody.
No, I did
We
not say
clip
that.
this. It's like,
My reason is more if it's a risky enough reward where you could lose, where it hinders you in an immunity challenge, and you're also potentially losing your vote. I feel like the reward needs to be worthwhile. It doesn't necessarily have to be an immunity idol, but it definitely needs to be better than a block of vote. I feel like that's
that being
pretty bad.
said, how great was how Steven then acted with his block of vote? Which is to say, he returns and has to decide what story he's going to give. And he does something that I don't know that I've seen exactly. I mean, there's been maybe at one of the various seasons this happened, but he doesn't lie about the whole thing. Like he does say what happened. He doesn't pretend that he didn't get an advantage. And he doesn't lie and say he got some other advantage. He just says, "Yep, and I got an advantage." Full stop. So he does not reveal what he got, but he does say, "I got an advantage."
I'm shocked. I thought that he would be more, I don't know, he could tell the whole story, but I I feel like if I were in a journey and I won, I don't I don't think I would say that I have an advantage, but I also see his point of when he said that, people are scared. People are like, "Oh, he has an advantage. What could it be?" And they're thinking, they're tinkering, and they're like, Rizzo's like, Let me think about what to do next, play with you because you have an advantage." But I'm also like, would that put like a target on his back? So tonight he won. So that's different. But if he didn't, and he didn't say that he had an advantage, would that have put a target on his back? Or if he did say he had an advantage, would that put a target on his back? I'm not sure, but I feel like I would have expected him to be like, I don't know. I would expect it to a normal any day player to just like lie about it, to say that they were able to save their vote. So, they're not a target because they don't have their vote, but also not say, "Hey, I got an advantage." Just say, "I just got my vote back, which is good. I'll take it," but no advantage because maybe they wanted you to do something else to gain that, which is a thing they do in Survivor where it's like, you do this, you keep your vote. You do this, you get this. You do this again, and your whatever gets stronger. So, I don't know. I think in a way it worked out, but I was shocked. I felt like he got off the boat and was just like, "I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna tell them everything, but hold off on what kind of advantage I said," because he just laid there. He's exhausted. You're exhausted physically, you're
Yeah.
exhausted mentally. He just lays on the beach, and then they're like, "What's going on? What's going on? What's happening?" He's just like, "Let me
See,
just
I don't
word
know.
vomit."
I just thought he was playing it up. He just like falls, just slowly falls on
No,
his
I think
face.
he's exhausted.
Yeah, no,
I
that challenge looked exhausting.
would be done for.
I honestly, not to sound dramatic, and this is more of his showing this entire episode rather than just following the challenge, the journey even. I think this is about as perfect of an episode I think someone has had in terms of like how they played without making any mistakes. If I'm judging their game, I thought Steven actually had an excellent episode. He did not make any mistakes. If I would like, even if I'm trying to nitpick, I think he was hush hush about what he needed to be hush hush about. He revealed exactly to the amount that he needed to reveal without being too telling. Did not do anything to hinder his own social game, did not give anything away. So I did like that he came back to the beach and wasn't like trying to hide it, because I felt like that would have been more suspicious, regardless of, let's say he even just lost his vote, right? I think most people would have just assumed that, yeah, no, he won the challenge. He's trying to hide stuff from us. So that would have made him seem more suspect. So in a way, him being open about like, okay, I won a challenge and I won a journey. I got an advantage. I like that. I like that he was open about that. And I also like the fact that he did not reveal what the advantage was. And this is where it comes into play because Rizzo ended up doing the work for him. Rizzo became very worried, being the Survivor fan he is, calculating it in his mind, thinking, okay, he probably won a steal a vote, right? Like as Ange and I are thinking that like, oh, okay, like he got a better reward than what he actually got. Rizzo probably was thinking the same thing, that like, oh, like he got a steal a vote for sure. I know for a fact that he got a steal a vote. Like he was so sure about that. And that made it so that Steven didn't even have to say anything. He didn't have to confirm. He didn't have to deny. And he actually, unlike Jawan, had a good poker face. He essentially let Rizzo instill that fear in everyone else. And I think that actually kind of benefited Steven, where it's like, okay, everyone's already seeing him as a threat, but he might be in a place where he feels untouchable right now, even without an immunity around his head. So I thought
It's
all in
interesting
all,
that
like
what
Stevens had a, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that it's interesting that these type of things often are bad. Like, oh no, he has an advantage. We need to get him out before he uses that advantage or something. But you're right. In this case, it did seem to delay the target on it. Like people were willing to come up with other names or like start the conversation. Um, which I don't know. Maybe that's about the players we have this season. I mean, think about it. Knowing, suspecting, and then knowing that Rizzo has an idol has essentially kept Rizzo very safe for a long time, which is another thing that doesn't always go that way. So maybe it's just about this group of players, and then it's a good read by Steven to realize they're kind of maybe scared is too harsh, but they like this group like sure things. So given the choice, they'd probably not target me if they think I have an advantage. At least not now. So that definitely looks good for Steven. Interestingly, if he had lied and said that he lost his vote, it would have worked out great because it would turn out that his vote wouldn't have been read anyway because everybody voted together. But that requires predicting the future, so he couldn't have known that. But if he had gone that way, he would have been able to conceal it. Because the problem about lying and saying that I lost my vote is that then the votes are read and you can just count them. Unless it's one of the situations where everybody votes together, so not all the votes are read. That's the one scenario where you get away with it, and he would have gotten away with it this time. So I thought that was interesting. What else for Steven? He won the immunity challenge, which was that we've seen actually a couple different times. You're essentially getting a bunch of blocks and you're trying to stack them to spell out a word, usually immunity. But this time it's connected to a wheel that winds around and it makes the whole table that's holding your blocks, it causes it to spin when you're walking forward and backwards. So just another way for your tower to fall. And really, I mean, a lot of these challenges last a while, everybody dropping multiple times, multiple false finishes, but this time, Steven, Jeff made it seem like he was like speeding through. I wouldn't say that he was like recklessly running the whole time. What was reckless is that eventually his tower really seems like it's tilting too far and it's about to fall, and he decides to continue anyway. That was the big gamble. How many times did you think that his tower was about to plummet to the ground?
Oh, I was saying it while we were watching.
Yeah,
Like it,
F was like, it's over. It's leaning. It was leaning. And the way when it like circles around, you could see the lean more because you could see like how it's like spinning. And it's like, oh man.
but yeah,
I thought Soph got in the bag.
yeah, Soph, Sage too. Actually, Sage's looked really good just because like hers seemed the most straight. It seemed like, okay, if for some reason Stevens tumbles, it's her game to lose. So, like, it just felt like this was the theme of the episode where Steven's taking a gamble and it's paying off.
Yeah, it's everything's coming up Steven. Now you brought up a good point, and if he had not won this challenge, would we be singing a different tune? We'll never know. But uh, the way it played out, great for Steven. Now, F, you did mention Soph. Now, what did you think of Soph finally verbalizing to us in confessional that she understands it would be quite dangerous for her to actually get to the end with her two allies, and that she is interested in voting one or both of them out before that point?
Well, she is right about that. I feel like it's something she does have to start to consider within the next episode or two. I think my concern at the start of this episode was where she's divulging information to Sage is she's trying to overplay her hand where she might be giving Sage dirt on her, like her top relationship, like the biggest supporters she has right now. And Sage could just come out and essentially stab her in the back with that information. So that was my concern. But to her point about actually having to make it to the end with like Savannah in particular, I think, yeah, Savannah definitely would take it over Soph. So she needs, we still have more of the season to go. We still need to see what else Soph is capable of doing. She has an advantage that we all got to monitor, see where it comes into play. But I think her assessment is correct. Like, she does need to start thinking about who she's going to make it to the end with. And if Savannah is in that short list, then unfortunately, I don't see her winning. So it's me, like, I would like Savannah to make it to the end, but I understand from Soph's perspective, it's not going to be too good for her game, and she's going to have to start making moves soon. So she's right about that.
I mean, soon though is like, this was Final 7. There's gonna be Final 6, a Final
Yeah.
5. That's it. So there was 3 more chances, and now there's 2 more chances. I mean, it's getting. If this is something she wants to get done, I mean,
Yeah.
we're there. This is and whenever she wants that to get done, it does seem like Rizo has no worries about going with Savannah. So it's unlikely you're going to be able to convince Rizo to help you with that. So you're going to have to talk with some of the other people. So I guess she's trying to put in the seeds of that now, and maybe she would have considered it even this time, but it just didn't line up that
Yeah.
way. Um,
I think even with Rizzo, the cracks could start to show because if he's looking at things without any personal bias, he should be able to understand why Savannah's such a threat. Even outside of the challenges, other people see her as a threat. Despite that, she's maintained strong relationships, which speaks to her actually having a good social game. And she's been dodging bullets through most of the season. Her name's come up a bunch of times, and she's still around. So it speaks to her perseverance. I think she just has a better story than Rizzo does. So, once
I
he
agree.
starts to put 2 and 2 together, he might also start to consider eliminating her.
I also feel like Savannah is not, but however, Savannah isn't as likable though as Rizzo. So I wonder if that does
Yeah.
anything in regards to like jury, in terms of jury, like quote unquote jury management, because I feel like Rizzo is very good at like, although he is aligned with Savannah, I don't feel like he's like as like hated on as Savannah is. Because I think he's not as direct. He tries to work with people. He like kind of plays this, like you would see like him and Steve, they're talking strategy, even though they were not talking strategy ever. And then he make it work. So I think that Rizzo has a better that type of play. And I mean, you even see like Soph knowing that, hey, if it's us 3, she's in the bottom 3. She ain't gonna win. If it's a top 3, she ain't gonna get any votes, and she knows that. So I wonder when will this flip, because they talk about it, but they don't do anything about it. But I don't think actually the only person is really Soph that's thinking about it. But like Rizzo and Savannah doesn't think about it, because I feel like they both think that they're better than the other, so they're not worried. I think that's why. And they're not worried about Soph at all. They adopted Soph like a little lost puppy. Like, Soph is just going to be the girl they take that has no votes. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Soph is truly a wild card right now just because of her knowledge is power advantage. She could potentially just steal Rizzo's idol at the very end and work towards getting Savannah eliminated. As Rizzo was struggling to say this episode, kill two birds with one stone. So,
Yeah.
if that works out, that would be very good for Soph. Would be a strong showing in the end. That could sneak her into a win potentially.
I do worry, like if she did that at final 6 and was successful, then she would be the clear and obvious target at final 5, and it would require her to win immunity to save herself. But I mean, I guess you gotta do it eventually. If you're gonna do it, then you gotta do it. But
Well, the goal is she steals an immunity and has that to fall back on.
But she has to use it right away, though, right?
Does she?
Or
No.
can she take it? Oh, she could take it and then
It's
keep
just-
it
Yeah,
it's
for
that's
just-
what I'm thinking.
Oh, I see.
now, granted,
Okay.
you might be taking it because you want to use it to save yourself. That could be one reason to use it. But the other reason could just be like, I'm not the target. But although then again, if you do that, I mean, then Savannah and Rizzo, I mean, you're telegraphing it. They might then try to vote for you, which would then force you to use it. I don't know. That would be interesting if that were to play out that way. But
Well, just as we were describing for Sage, that is an ideal scenario for her. That doesn't necessarily mean it's realistically going to happen. But if everything falls on her to be able to try to make it to the end, then that could be a pathway for her to win. And it is a possibility. It requires a lot of work, obviously.
Yeah, I actually do like. I like the potential for Soph if I think she could be with one of Rizzo and Savannah, but not both. But if at least one of them's gone, it's a very underdog story to say I was in the tribe that got completely wiped out. Then I came here. Then I was able to get myself into the most powerful alliance in the game. And then I used an advantage that I kept secret from everyone when secrets get shared all the time. And I eliminated who you thought was the best player in the game, and now I'm here. Like, if all of those things happen, that's a good story. That's
I became the Trojan
biggest thing.
horse in the most powerful tribe, right?
Yep, and I wanted, and I did what Jake needed me to do. You call it back.
Win it for Jake.
So, yes. So that's if all those things happen, that's pretty good. The biggest thing is she needs to overcome the idea that she was just carried to the end. Because even if, because I argue that's not completely true. I mean, she did use her social game to actually get accepted by Rizzo and Savannah over other members of their own alliance and Uli too. But the perception is going to be just she was just the third wheel. So I think she does need something. When someone criticizes her for that, she needs to be able to cite something she did.
I think, not to labor too long on this little hypothetical, but I think this scenario that I've laid out is the perfect counter to that, right? It's as you're describing, she had a poor start with her original tribe, was the lone survivor at the end of the day, moved on to a bigger tribe where she created her own support lines to where she now has the numbers. And then she essentially burned those bridges and then eliminated those two in a sense. If Rizzo's more supportive towards Savannah and is willing to use his idol for her, if she steals the idol, she robs him of the opportunity to do that, essentially allows Savannah to get eliminated, and then that'll burn her bridge with Rizzo. He could then become a target for, the next episode. That's a storyline in of itself that I essentially just eliminated the biggest threats in the game in terms of,
That's true.
where the numbers were at.
Good point.
Let's move on to Sage and Sophie in a way. So Sage's story this episode is she is quite hurt, betrayed, and just generally frustrated that her plan didn't work last week. And that anger is directed at Sophie, which I guess makes sense. Sophie did lie to her. and then join the other side. But she is so upset about this that she now wants Sophie out more than she wants Savannah out. Now, I'm sure she also still wants Savannah out, but at the moment, Sophie has jumped her in the list. I mentioned before I did not buy what Savannah said, that she was making a revenge-based decision. But Sage, I think, definitely is making a revenge-based decision, deciding that Sophie must be eliminated. And when that happens, it's there's like an evil grin on Sage's face of finally getting out the person that she wanted to get out.
It just goes to show how endearing Jawan was, right? Like he was the sole reason that she wanted to. Her mind flipped from getting Savannah out, who she's wanted to get out the entire game, to getting Sophie out. And if you look at how this episode went, there could have been a play in actually getting Savannah out here if she was willing to do it. So it's interesting to see she had an opportunity, but, you know, interestingly enough, she moved on from that just because for Jawan, she wanted to get Sophie out.
Yeah, and by the way, that's why I think it was a unanimous vote. I think because what Sophie wanted to happen was Sophie, Steven, Kristina, Sage would be the four, and then maybe Soph, but they don't even need to worry if Soph's voting with them or not. The four of them vote Savannah, but I think Sage already tunnel vision must get out Savannah. So at that point, well, then we're only going to have three. Like, if you're Steve and Christina, we're only going to have three. It's a losing effort. So why be part of a losing vote? We'll just also vote for Sophie. It's not like we're aligned with her anyway. And as a result, it's everybody. Um, this episode did make me think, if Sage does get to the end, there is a chance she'll have a different kind of underdog story. Just like imagine it's Rizo, Savannah, and Sage. Are people going to be so like frustrated and salty of losing to Savannah and Rizzo that they would enjoy being able to vote for Sage? Maybe, because I mean, a lot of them, especially Joanne, were real happy with the result of this vote.
Yeah, food for thought.
There's many different ways to win Survivor,
That's true.
and
That's true.
even more ways to lose it. So I think the last thing is I guess Sophie. I don't know that Sophie actively made a mistake, because yes, she did attempt to get out Savannah, but everyone's trying to get, like, that's not unique to her. Like, plenty, including the people she went to help her with this, have wanted to target Savannah. So I think it was reasonable to expect them to agree with you. But clearly it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, it makes sense for Sophie to feel that because, like, for so long they've been wanting to take out Savannah. So it's like, today's the night, let's do it. But I think it's just the fact that, hey, you burned a couple bridges. It's kind of hard to trust you again. Why should we listen to you? And now you are the threat now, you know? So Sophie had to go, unfortunately. And I actually I feel like Sophie, I get why she played that, like, to take out Jawan, but I can't help but feel like if she didn't take out Jawan and, like, someone, like, they should have just I just think about how Sage is like, you just handed her $1,000,000. And Sophie's like, no, I didn't. Like, no, I didn't. Like, she could still get out in a way, you know? But in the end, she got out. So if she didn't take out Jawan
The irony
and
in
didn't
that.
jump, yeah, I know. The irony is just so strong where she's like, she ended up going. And I feel like what her biggest thing about Sophie's biggest thing is that she never had anyone close. Because in either alliance, playing in the middle, you are not close with anybody. You are the bottom to both alliances. So it puts you in a very finicky position, you know? Like the three, Soph, Rizzo, and Savannah, those three are locked in, but they're willing to pull her in because they need the numbers. But she's in the bottom of that. And she feels the same way with Sage and Steven and Kristina. Like, she never felt like she was close to anybody. So I feel like from that on, it was never going to be, she's going to have to, like, consistently win a bunch of challenges or like that's pretty much it. That's her only gameplay. And the moment she doesn't, it's pretty much over unless she has someone else that are bigger threaty. And which was Savannah until now they're like, you know what? Screw Savannah. Revenge is bigger and you've been getting the right votes, so you are the main guy, so I don't care anymore.
Yeah, in theory, it should be simple, right? Like just win challenges to set yourself up, establish yourself up better for like, future scenarios. But
Mhm.
as we've seen with Alex, right, playing the middle and kind of overplaying your hand, that can put you in a dangerous spot. So at the very least, they're more mindful of that relative to where Alex was at, where, Rizzo snuffed it out pretty quickly and that ultimately got him eliminated. So yes, I mean, so I would say Soph's in that position too, right? Like she's reluctant in terms of moving forward with Savannah and Rizzo this episode. So we'll just have to see where it goes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess you can flip one time. If you flip once, you can argue it's a good move. Like, or not good, a big move. If you flip more than one time, then you're just a flip flopper. And not only could it be a target, but also may not get any respect. So I
Mhm.
guess if you can only do it once, make it count. Which is the counterpoint when you criticize someone for not ever making a move. They're like, but you see, if I made a move, then I'd be a target, get voted out, so I will not make a move. So maybe there could be some truth to that.
I will add one other thing that we found in this episode, which is pretty interesting, was Steven actually has a pretty decent impersonation of Jeff. Got to see it
Oh, that was
during
a
that
pretty
challenge.
cool moment. Yeah, I really like that.
They're they're having a lot of fun in the new era. This is a positive for the last 9 seasons of some cool editing tricks and just things. So because they're having fun with Steven impersonating Jeff's explanation of the challenge, they then do like a little mini the same shot they would do when Jeff explains the challenge did for when Stevens explained the challenge, which is fun. I love that.
Agreed.
Um but yeah, so at Tribal Council, there's a little bit of who's it gonna be, but in the end, because and I actually think there's the big thing is because Steven's immune, that's not part of the story. There is a pretty high chance, I think, that if Steven's not immune, then they don't target Sophie or Savannah. They just target Steven at that point. But in the end, it is Sophie. Unanimous vote out. She is very surprised. Uh, are you interested in seeing the other Sophie again, as she calls herself at the end?
Hmm. I
It's
like how we have this
hard.
same initial
I
reaction.
know.
Yeah, I would say no. Yeah, I would say no. I feel like we've seen a lot of her game, and I don't know what else she would like. What else we would be seeing that another potential survivor couldn't show us. Generally, if I choose someone to return, it's you didn't see the full facet of their game.
Mm.
I can't really make that same case for Sophie. She's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a higher bar for me in terms of wanting someone to come back, and she just hasn't met that.
I would say I would say I agree just because I feel like I don't know Sophie that much. You know, in the end of the day, I feel like there's storylines, right? There are backgrounds, there are things that we kind of go through that you kind of stick to you. And I feel like in this season, I cannot think of anything besides Savannah's story about working in the news place and being isolated, and Jake's father, I think, have glaucoma, or mother have glaucoma. Somebody's got glaucoma and might be losing vision. And that's really much it. Oh, and Kristina's mother, of course. But that's it. Like, I don't really know these people, and I don't feel like I know Sophie. Um, I, there's always another challenge beast, and she wasn't like she was good at challenges. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like she was that out of the ordinary compared to the bunch with Savannah and now Steve. Then, so I think I'm okay. I'm okay without seeing Sophie anymore. I'm good.
Okay. I forgot that I can actually give my opinion for these. So, I don't need to see Joanne nor Sophie, other Sophie, again.
No to
Um,
Jawan? You don't want more stealing?
That is fine.
All right, if we
That
put you on
wasn't
the spot and
the.
said you were forced to choose one or the other, who would you choose between the two of them?
I would choose Joanne over Sophie. But actually, I think they entertain me a similar amount, just in different ways. Actually, both of them were interested in winning. Both of them did come up with plans. Sophie, via winning immunities, had a little more freedom to swing big with plans. But Jawan had a story of betraying his own alliance, which is cool.
Damn straight.
But nothing that that's compelling me to really want either of them back. So
Fair enough.
that's my answer there. Winner picks. As a reminder, both of you have. Well, first of all, it's old news now. All my winner picks are gone, so I'm out of the running. Both both of you
They live
have
on spirit.
Steven. Yes. Both of you have Steven, and you have Rizzo. F, you have Savannah. So Savannah and Steven in particular have been in danger lately. Rizzo, funny enough, hasn't been in danger. I guess the question starts becoming less about are they in danger and more of are they gonna win? But yeah, so and will you be switching from either Rizzo or from Steve?
I'm gonna stick strong with Rizzo and Steven. Let's go.
Okay. And you F, do you still believe the winner is one of Savannah or Steve?
As my boy Steven did this episode, I too would flirt with danger. So yes, I would stick with both these picks.
Oh,
I
so
love
you're
it.
They
switching.
both potentially could be next on the chopping block, but I believe.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you're flirting with danger, so you're gonna switch to Kristina. Because I feel like that would be flirting with danger.
Ooh, yes, F.
Oh, really?
F and do it, yeah.
You think she's next up on the chopping block? I feel
Well,
like
no,
Sav-
so it's no. So this is important to point out here. While the second most important part of your winner pick is to make sure they don't get voted out, the actual first important part is to make sure they win. So I think Kristina would be very dangerous because I am not confident at all that she would win if she even got to the end. So that's what I mean.
I see.
Kristina is a very dangerous winner pick because what are the chances she's actually going to win? So that's
That's
why you do want to
that
make sure as you're evaluating your own picks that you still believe they're going to win.
that's true, but I meant in the sense of reasonable conditions. Like we picked these early on. Was I I'm happy to see that these two picks are there, but I wouldn't have anticipated that they would have been the two names that would have been coming up with most recently Sophie. I think Kristina is I'm not, yeah, you're right. I'm not sure how she's going to win, but it's less of a concern right now that she'll just make it to the final three compared to the other two. It's if someone's getting eliminated, they need to win the challenges, otherwise they're gone, right? So in that sense, it's a more immediate danger, but if they can get past that danger, it's more of a high, I should say, let me rephrase that. It's more of a high risk, high reward. That's the strategy that I'm going with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll see. I think I only somewhat agree with that. But start thinking about it for next week because next week, the penultimate episode, we'll have to break down the final five at that, which is what it'll be at that point. So then you'll really have to decide: do you really think you have the winner or not? But you got a week to think about it. So we
I
shall
knew
see.
from episode 1 I had the winner.
I like
you?
it, F. The confidence.
I
Heck
mean,
yeah.
you'd best hope that by that you don't mean Soph because you swapped from her to
let's just forget the fact that yes, I was okay. She should be going by Sophie now. Now that
That's true.
Sophie's actually been eliminated.
That's fair. Yes, other Sophie's gone. Soph has returned to Sophie. It is
hopefully
fun
we see that in the title card.
Yeah, I didn't check. I'll double check that. Like for this, if they were changed, and if they change next week.
I know for this episode, I was paying attention to that. So for this episode, they actually did say Soph. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for if she's going to return to being Sophie.
But all right, that's all I got. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Yeah, I'm excited for next week.
Splendid. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining for this episode of Island Life. And tune in next time as we take on episode 12, the penultimate episode of season 49. But until then, and until we speak again, ciao.